Hey everyone, this is Sean. So today let's walk through how to build an agentic RAG system like a pro. We're going to walk through a quick system design over here, and then we're going to jump right into a live demo that will not only have an embedding in a vector database for retrievals, but we will also show you how to use some tools like setting up Google Calendar, setting up a Gmail. And last but not least, I'm going to show you a open source GitHub repo for agentic RAG that will allow us to set up the entire code base with Supabase, Python backend, and Google Cloud. So let's get started. Firstly, this is a system design for an agentic RAG. For some of you who watched my previous video about a YouTube RAG system, this is basically an extension. We introduced this new thing called agentic tool. The user will have a user channel that will either talk through a web chat, an email, or a WhatsApp. And eventually it's going to interact with an AI agent that sort of is doing the communications over there, right? And then according to our previous video, we basically allow this agent to query some data from a vector database, which in our case, we're using Supabase. And this vector database essentially is like splitting some original documents, turn them into smaller chunks, and then turn those words into embeddings. Embeddings is basically a high-dimensional vector that will represent words in numbers. Eventually, this AI agent will sort of check the policies, check what kind of products they have. That's the traditional RAG we're talking about. Today, we're going to show you this very quick demo of talking to an AI agent and actually letting it schedule a call with us and eventually sending us an email. And I'm very excited to show you the demo right now. This is a localhost 8000/chat. And let's just jump right in and see what happens. And you can see that currently we have this thing called a scheduling time zone, V1. I sort of set up the time zone for availabilities for this AI agent to respond to a consumer. So if I say, I want to schedule a call with your manager to talk about a wholesale deal, let's see what it says. All right, now firstly, it asked me to schedule a call. Before that, they asked me about the preferred date and time for the call. And I'm just gonna say, okay, can we do 6 a.m. EST tomorrow? And ideally, it should check the policy over here, and it say that the earliest available time slot is 7 a.m., which is true, 7 a.m. right here, okay? So it cannot allow me to schedule a time. So let's just say, okay, cool. Let's do 10 a.m. EST tomorrow. My email is sasha.uru@gmail.com. And meanwhile, let's just show the calendar right here. Okay, let's send this. Cool. So now it has set up the call for me. You can see that it popped out real quick immediately, right? Look at this. It's already here. Sent from Sean@automanus.io. Automanus is our startup, by the way, which is a sales leads manager for made-to-order products. Feel free to check it out, automanus.io. Send me a summary email as a heads up. So you can see that in my mailbox, I already received this calendar, and I can say yes to it. And if I come back, I just got another one saying that it's a reminder for an upcoming call, which is literally what we asked for, okay? So this agentic tool calling is working. This is incredible. What happened was that we asked, can we do 6 a.m.? And then you check the policy. They said that no, 7 a.m. is the earliest time. So it didn't even do the tool calling. And then later I say, okay, let's do 10 a.m. tomorrow, and immediately understood. And I gave it my email. And then he also, let's see, you also know that we're doing a wholesale deal discussion. So it also has the context. And eventually I asked it to send an email as a heads up. It also sent me an email as a heads up. So this is a full cycle of a agentic RAG system that allows this AI agent to talk to a consumer. Okay, so now let's jump right into the code and see how it actually worked. So I prepared this GitHub called yt-agentic-rag under Shenshong Chen. You guys can all have access to it, github.com/shenshongchen/yt-agentic-rag. I'm gonna link the YouTube link here. If you like the video, you can click on Buy Me a Coffee to support us. What I really wanted to show you is this current project setup. We set up this agentic system in a FastAPI backend. Just like previously, we actually had another repo called yt-rag. Let me just turn it up for you. This is yt-rag, got 33 stars so far. What this one did was simply vector database for the RAG, and there's no tool calling at all. And this time we're going to dive into how do we combine both of them so that the AI agent has access to not only the knowledge, but also the actions. Okay. And you can see that we have a comparison here that previously we also have vector search and RAG for Q&A. But this time we're getting tool calling, agentic reason loop, calendar scheduling, email sending, multi-turn chat history, multi-step actions. So if you scroll down a little bit, you can see that there's a step 1, and then you basically just git clone this repo and set up some Python environment. All you gotta do is just copy this, turn on your Claude Code, Cursor, VS Code, whatever. I use Cursor, so let's try the Cursor version. So all you gotta do is you literally just find somewhere empty and then paste this whole thing in and then hit enter. It will start a new project for you. And then the next step is that you need to set up your Supabase. Basically, for anyone who's not familiar with this, Supabase is one of the most popular AI agent related database. And then they also have their own vector embeddings for retrieval augmented generation tools. So it's very handy, very helpful. You just gotta create a new project, set up the password, set up a new region, and all you need to do is to copy these APIs and the project URLs. And if you go back to the code, you can see that we got this .m.example. What you need to do is that you need to copy this, turn it into a .m, and then replace these Supabase URL, anon key, and service row keys with the real ones. Okay, I'll leave this to you guys, and feel free to check my previous videos for how to set up Supabase. I've got plenty of examples. So after Supabase, there's another thing, which is you need to set up the database. In our code, we have a section called SQL, and you can click on Initial Supabase SQL, and you can see that we're showing you how to create the tables. All you gotta do is just Command A, Command C if you're using Apple. Come to Supabase, come to SQL Editor, click on plus, click on New, and then just paste it here and run it. That's it. And then you're gonna set up the tables just like me. All right, on the sidebar, table editor, you can see that I was showing you the example of the policies, and all of them, we have some initial setup just for you if you run this project. After you set up the Supabase, what happens is that you need to also set up the OpenAI keys, and then eventually set up the Google Cloud, because we're using Google Calendar and Gmail, so it's gonna be much easier. So what happens is that you need to set up this thing called a service account. What the service account does is you're basically telling Google that this app is allowed to use my Gmail to send calendar invite to this extra Gmail externally, okay? And then the way you do that is just, you need to come to console.cloud.google.com/API/credentials, or you can just navigate to the left-hand sidebar, API and services, and click on credentials, okay? And then you'll be able to land on this page where you can click on create credentials plus a new service account, okay? And a service account is basically you can handle everything in the back end without any authorizations anymore. It's just you're giving it a secret or access to your project, okay? So you just gotta put in your account number, account name, and then put in a new ID, and then put in the description, and just follow the instruction and finish the whole thing. I have documented everything here, so you just need to literally follow this step. All right, give it a name, Agentic RAG service, and then eventually you need to download the service key to your local folder called credentials/serviceaccount.json, which is right here. We have a folder called credentials, you can see. You need to download that key over here and call it service_account.json. Okay, that's all you gotta do. And if you're deploying this to Google Cloud, you also need to set up something else, all right? But other than that, you just need to make sure that you entered this OAuth scope into your Google Client ID, all right? And then just authorize the whole thing. And then you just need to set up the environment variable, and that's about it. So in our code base, we have an app folder in which you have the agent folder, and then our main agent is over here called Orchestrator, okay? I'm just gonna keep the file, which is all the changes. And then what this one does is that this is the central agent that will help you to retrieve relevant context from the RAG and build a message system, doing the functional calling, tool calling, and eventually generate the final response with the output, okay? And then this one is being fed with the tool folder, in which you can see that we've got, for example, this calendar tool, okay? This calendar tool basically has an automatic Google Meet link generation, multiple attendees, time zone support, RAG-informed duration. For example, it's scheduled 30 minutes because in our policy it said 30 minutes, okay? So this is very handy. And then in the service folder, we also have the rest of the things, just like the previous video, where we basically tell the agent how to chat, how to chunk the documents into smaller chunks, and how to run the embeddings using OpenAI. This demo is literally focused on calendar tool and email tools. All right. And for the calendar tool, essentially it's a new service account that you created using Google Cloud, and eventually you're going to execute it by sharing, exactly what's the start time, end time, description, attendees, and time zones. Okay, feel free to play around with this repo. It should be pretty handy for you already. Hope this makes sense. Let me know if you have any questions. This is probably one of the simplest agentic RAG system, full stack from system design to code to deployment on the internet. Let me know if you have any feedback, and I'll see you next time.